You're listening to In My Humble Opinion with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis. Only on 101.3 Jams.
IMHO Talk Show.
Yeah.
We here once again like we never left, Miss Max.
That's right. We back. First live show since 2022. Intro. Happy about it. Got all the crew here. Sir Charles, A.A. Ron, Razor.
That's right. Y'all got to excuse Aaron. Y'all got to excuse him. Aaron is fresh off vacation, fresh from the islands. The tropics of Maui, to be exact.
I told you, man. You hit the return of the Mac perfectly, my brother. Nah, what's up, man? Blessings to everybody. My man Troy, Miss Mizax, Charles, Sir Charles Lewis. I'm glad to be in the house, and I know we got some great things excited for the people today. And I hope everybody's gonna be tuning in because we're gonna give y'all some food to chew on. You know
that. Today. And Razor, what say ye?
Yay, man. 2021 tried to kill me. And 2022 let me know that I'm here for a purpose.
God's still on the throne.
Absolutely. So I'm actually looking forward to this show right here because I finally think I found the purpose I'm supposed to be walking in. So I'm thankful to be here.
Oh, okay, all right. Okay. Bring it prophet Trizor this morning with the word for the people.
For $9.99, I can get you there too.
So man, but thank y'all IMHO family, and y'all know how to do, what to do while we are here. Taking Seville to the world, bringing the world to Seville. Tell a friend during those breaks. Right. And at any time, how can they reach us, Miss Max? How can the good folks reach you?
434-422-9101. And you can hit us up on Facebook. So feel free. Leave your comments, questions, call the station. Engagement. That's what we're looking for.
That's right. And shouts out, for the new year as well. Our folks from Diecast Media, Marshall Hanbury, still hanging in here with us, making us sound and look so lovely. And so for this year 2022, y'all, Miss Max, we thought what better way to kick it off, right, than to invite our friends in, from our collaborative, the Charlottesville Inclusive Media Group. Which consists, of course, of In My Humble Opinion Talk Show, as well as Charlottesville Tomorrow, Vinegar Hill Magazine. And so, we announced, around the end of last year that Charlottesville Tomorrow has its first chief editor in place now, talking about none other than our first guest, Angilee Shah.
Hello.
Miss Shah, thank you for joining us.
I'm so thrilled to be here.
Appreciate it.
To have you.
Yeah, and she will be followed up this hour to talk more about those hot topics. Max, Razor, and A.A. Ron, the governor, and the executive orders he's put in place already, and talking about some COVID updates, the redistricting. So all the things that affect us, that shows us why it's not all right to sit out for that vote. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
Wow.
That's when you hit the organ.
Right. Hey, all right. So Angilee, let's go ahead and jump into it. So first, welcome to Seville. I know you've been here for a couple of years now, but welcome to the team.
Yeah.
Looking forward to the great work that you want to put in. So first things first, though, bring the folks up to speed a little bit with you, because you came here to Charlottesville at a very peculiar time. The timing of your arrival and what didn't make you run away. Says a lot about your character. So go ahead and introduce the folks, a little further, present yourself, your background and what brought you here.
Yeah, I'm a journalist. I came out of sort of international news and then national news up through public media. And I arrived in Charlottesville on August 12th, 2019. My first day in Charlottesville, I went to a memorial for folks and the things that happened here. And my second day in Charlottesville, I met the team at Charlottesville Tomorrow. They are so interested in doing the kind of work that I think is so important locally. That's how I got here. It's been a really interesting ride. I started December 1st as editor-in-chief. And after working in international news and national news, now I'm in very, very local news, which means that I get to do things like actually meet all the people who we are writing about and trying to serve.
Awesome.
Which is an awesome thing.
That is an awesome thing. Yeah. And we do also already have on the line with us one of the new community engagement reporters for Charlottesville Tomorrow. So I'll let you further introduce her and she can say hello.
Yeah, you guys have to know Tamika Jean Charles. She's started before me actually, and she is covering families and education in town. And just started on that beat a couple weeks ago. Tamika, you want to say hi?
Hi, everyone. Tamika.
Great, Tamika. Hey, and Tamika, you have a nice little story too, right? So you came up by way, right, of Haiti, Florida, did some work in Petersburg. Tell us a little bit about that.
So my family are originally from Haiti. My parents immigrated from the island in the mid-90s. Had my sister and I in South Florida. So I've been born and raised in South Florida. Then I moved to Virginia, my first place I lived in. I was in Florida. I worked in Richmond, I worked in Petersburg, and now I'm here in Charlottesville. So I've become a central VA person. But it's been really fun.
Good. So the first thing, Max, I want to kick it over to you because, we have yourself, we have Tamika, we have Angilee, right? Like y'all are all strong women, smart women, leading causes within the community, leading voices. That's very important. Women of color being lead voices, telling their own story and representing their families and their community. So Max, what I'm curious to hear from all three of y'all is like, what responsibility do you all feel and what's some of your experiences as women of color in media?
Oh my God, where do we start? For me, I think, I came into journalism to serve. It was never about being famous or being like in the middle of controversies. It was about service to community always. Even when I was working abroad in conflict zones, it was about service. And I think as women of color, we take that responsibility very seriously. Sometimes I think there's a lot expected of us, and we are expected to take on situations that are really messy. And in this town, certainly, I came into this job fully aware of how many women of color have come through leadership positions in this town and really put everything on the line for what they believe in. So I want to do the same thing, and also I want a long career. So I'm trying to navigate that now, really.
Yeah, thank you for that. Max, Tamika, curious y'all insights.
Yeah. It's a difficult atmosphere, I guess I can call it, for women of color, and especially given the current social climate and political climate. So, just as a female in general, you're expected to be self-assured, and you're expected to be strong and persevere and be bold and speak out and be superwoman and all of these things, and then on the other hand, if you show any vulnerability, then you get labeled one thing, or if you are too bold, then you get labeled something else. And so we are really always juggling these, or at least I am, maybe I can't speak for every woman, but always juggling these balls of what's right, what's wrong, what's good, what's a good fit, trying to bring a chair to the table, trying to make sure that I deserve to be at the table, sometimes it's a little exhausting. I mean, just being quite frank with you, sometimes it is. On the other hand, I understand that as a Black woman, I have an obligation. I have an obligation to myself, to my Black husband, to my Black children, to my Black community, and then to the Charlottesville community world at large, just to be a spokesman, right? To be a spokesman for what is right, to call out injustices, and and to be a leader in that way, to carry myself as an example, so that the people that are looking at me, even though I may not know it, see something that they'd like to follow, or something they can build off of, or something that can help build their character, or what have you. So it's an internal battle, it's an external battle, but what I'm assured of is that regardless, it's a battle, and it's not one that you can shrink back from.
Can't quit. Keep the eye on the prize. And Tamika, your experience and feelings.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely been hard for me too, because I've always been the only Black person, let alone Black girl, and majority of things I've done. So to kind of pursue Korean journalism, there's a lot of moments where you do kind of lose hope, not only because I'm the only person that looks like me in a room, or like, I have opinions that pertain to my experience that people also don't understand and will kind of take it as something else. But I feel like the kind of like Angilee, like I came to journalism to serve. My intentions are to like serve those around me, especially those who look like me. So I think it's important to just be a voice, especially be a voice that looks like the voice I'm hoping to cover in the future. So I think it's important to have people like that.
Can I ask a question though? Because when I was listening to Max, I was thinking, on the one hand, there's a lot of expectation on women of color. For me, my parents immigrated from India. I'm a Canadian who moved around all over the place. From a national news perspective, for example, I think like the best example I can come up with is the Unite the Right rally here happened, and then the hearings about the Supreme Court Justice Kavanaugh happened after that. And I look at that as an example of the way national news position those two things. How newsrooms that are very white still, after all these years, they're still very white. How they position the Kavanaugh trials as a real a challenge for women to hear, because so many of us have gone through harassment and assault and have experienced, the kind of power that comes with somebody like him. And how Unite the Right was not nationally, at least. I know here it was an emergency, but nationally, we didn't feel that urgency of how terrifying this was for people of color. So as a woman of color, we live in that intersectional space where we are navigating both. Which on the one hand is really challenging. On the other hand, it is tremendously powerful that we have access to all of those experiences. And it's really fun that we can, not that those events are fun, but it's really fun that we are able to communicate and understand so many parts of what's happening in our country right now.
Hey, Charles, I got a question for Angilee.
Yes, sir.
Angilee, how you doing?
Hi, Troy. Razor, sorry, on the radio.
Yeah. Y'all call me by my government name. What's
All right, the feds is calling now. The feds
I know, right? Let me ask you this, okay? By you being a woman of color that is not an African American woman, with what you're trying to do in the community with Charlottesville Tomorrow, what assistance can African American women give you in your plight of giving them a voice? Because a lot of times our community don't take advantage of the opportunities that they don't know exist. So you have a platform with us right now. So tell exactly what you're looking for.
Troy, I got to tell you, I don't need assistance. I need leadership, which is what African American women in this town have been giving. So if there are things that we need to report on, stories, people who are listening need to tell, I'm looking for that leadership, so they, so that your listeners can feel confident. They can come to me and talk to me, and I will help them to get that coverage that's really, really important locally, to the best of my ability. I've been in the business for 20 years, and I will use my skills to do that. One thing I've been doing since I started with sort of a community listening tour. I just really wanted to fill my head with the voices of lots of different kinds of people in town, because it's really easy in Charlottesville to just like have all Twitterati sort of in your head. And I really didn't want to have only that in my brain. So I've talked to 50 people now since December 1, in these listening tour, and I just want more folks to feel like they can call on our newsroom, call on me specifically to talk about what they want and need in local news. It's leadership, it's not assistance.
Right. That's a very interesting point, because oftentimes what you hear in conversation when it comes to the Black community in Charlottesville is that the few voices that we hear from are the minorities, the same ones over and over again. And there are others who have opinions, sometimes differing opinions, that we are not hearing from, who may want to engage but choose not to because the voices that we always hear from are just more overpowering. And so, I would like to see a space where the people that are in these shadows, who have opinions and who want to engage and help move the Black community forward, really come out of the shadows. Like if you don't want your white counterparts to tell your story, then come forward and tell your own stories. And then you can't complain when there's somebody else telling it, because you're volunteering, here I am, I'm lending my voice. But rather than talking about these people who exist, and I've heard them referred to as a subset of the community, the voices that we hear from, but rather than hearing about those that aren't coming forward as like some mystical creatures that are out there and they have something to say, we just aren't hearing from them. Come forward. That's the only way that we make this community better as a whole, is really if we work together.
But, I'm totally aware it's not easy to come forward in media. I mean, you look at our media landscape in this country, in 20 years, fewer than half of news organizations, the last 20 years, fewer than half of news organizations in this country have made any progress towards having diversity that looks anything like the census, anything like the actual population of this country. Fewer than half. Not to mention that our sort of news media, there's really good studies from Pew Research and others, has just contracted. We have a third of employees in news organizations have been lost, have been laid off, or have left the industry in the last 20 years. So our industry is just small, which makes those openings to get in, which makes the accessibility of journalists who are doing more and more work for less and less pay, makes it difficult. And so at Charlottesville Tomorrow, we are trying to change that economy, and we think this is what we're gambling on. Gamble, it's an educated educated planning. We think that this place, Charlottesville, and the Charlottesville area in particular, actually sees news, storytelling, representation as valuable, and that this community will invest in that process, because representation is so important.
We sure hope so, Riz. But I think that's a great point to do sort of the last introduction before we get into some of the meat and potatoes of the topics is CIM. I heard you mention the listening tour, so please expound upon CIM and sort of the role that's playing for. And our listeners are aware that they've heard us talk about it, but now with you in your new role, how do you see CIM attacking those issues you and Max are talking about?
Yeah. So Charles, you and I and Sarad Davenport of Vinegar Hill Magazine.
Shout out to Sarad.
Hey, Sarad, who also gave a great performance in Pipeline last night.
Yes,
I was able to see it. It was
Give
real
it
cool.
Up.
You guys can see it at Live Arts. Lovely. Speaking of women of color leading, that play actually really dramatizes that in a very visceral way, if you haven't seen it yet.
And a quick plug for that, today is the last day to watch it live, and I believe you can stream it as well. So if you can't make it out there, go to the Live Arts website, and you can actually buy tickets to stream it as well. So plug for the homie Saray.
Yeah. But back to CIM, Charlottesville Inclusive Media is such an amazing partnership between these three organizations. And the way I see it, if we are going to have a change in sort of how our media ecosystem works, at least locally, right? National is another picture, but locally, we can do it because we have these amazing institutions that reach people in different ways already, reach people where they are already. So, I think between the three of our organizations, we're beginning to build sort of a structure by which we can get more people, as Sarad says, we need more people in the public discourse, get more people into the public discourse, and make an economy, pay people for work. I think a lot of times when we're talking about representation, there's so much expectation that people of color in particular volunteer. But this is professional work, and it takes time and it takes energy. So we really want to work toward building that economy for more people to be part of our newsmaking, be part of our storytelling in town.
That's spot on. I love it. So, this is great. I think we laid the layout, Miss Max. Great foundation. Right. You know, everybody knows who we all shook hands. You know, Razor hadn't scared anybody away yet. So, with that being said, let's take a quick break. And
he waiting though, Charles. Look at him. He waiting. He waiting.
That's my God. It's a long show, bro.
Yeah, that's right. Don't speak too early.
3 hours. Yeah. So folks, tell a friend. Ms. Max, tell them how to reach us. Tell them who here if they want to ask a question or talk to us.
Yeah. To contact us at the station, the number is 434-422-9101. Hit us up on, we're streaming live on Facebook and I believe YouTube, but send us a message on Facebook. Let us know any questions you might have, thoughts, comments.
Yep. And our video man, Marshall, said that the links are in the comments as well, y'all. So if you want a link to find more info about the CIM team, check the comment section on our Facebook page. But as Miss Max said, we will be right back, y'all.
You're listening to In My Humble Opinion with Maxilia Robinson and Charles Lewis, only on 101.3 Jams.